Welcome to the video lectures on course Radiation and Microwave Techniques. Unit number 1, Fundamental Theory of Radiation and Radiating Elements. This is the lecture number 1 which focuses on antenna basics. Now let's see what are the contents that will be covered in this video lecture. The learning outcomes, introduction to antenna, the radiation mechanism of antenna, and the different types of antenna. Coming to the learning outcomes, after completion of this lecture, students will be able to understand basic antenna definition, understand antenna radiation mechanism, recognize different types of antennas. Now let us start with the topic, that is antenna. Now this antenna, it plays a very important role in the radio communication. So let's see the different definitions of antenna. By Webster Dictionary, antenna is defined a usually metallic device for radiating or receiving radio waves. By IEEE standard definitions, antenna is defined as a means for radiating or receiving the radio waves. So here in the figure you can see this is the transmitter generating the signal that is to be transmitted via a communication link, radio communication link. This is the transmission line which is taking the signal to the antenna. This antenna, transmitting antenna, will radiate the radio waves, that is the signal, and it will be received at the receiving antenna through a transmission line. It is connected to a receiver. In other words, this antenna is defined as a transitional structure between the free space and the guiding device. So we will see antenna as a transition device. So here you can see this is the source which is generating the signal that is to be transmitted. This is the transmission line which is carrying the signal. Via the antenna, the signals, they are transmitted into the free space. So antenna acts as a transition device between the free space and this transmission line. So this transmission line, it can be a coaxial cable or it can be a waveguide. This antenna, it can also be thought as a transducer. So now you can see the source, it is generating the signal that is to be transmitted via, it can be current or voltage. This is converted into electromagnetic waves that can be propagated in the free space. So the antenna, it converts the signal into the electromagnetic waves. So it can be thought as a transducer. At the receiving side, the antenna can also be called as an impedance matching device. So these are the different definitions of antenna. Now after learning the definitions of antenna, we will move to the topic how this electromagnetic waves, they are generated and how they are propagated. So let's start with the radiation mechanism with some basic concepts of Maxwell equation. So you know these are the Maxwell equation. So from first Maxwell equation, what we can say is a moving electric field creates a magnetic field. From the second equation, we can say that a moving magnetic field creates electric field. Is it correct? So basically this electric charge, it is the source of electromagnetic field. Whenever the charge is at the resting state, it only generates the electric field. But if the charge is in motion, it generates electric field as well as the magnetic field. If the charge is moving with the constant velocity, the E and H field that will have the constant magnitude. While if the charge is accelerating, it will generate the time varying E and H fields. So consider a conductor and a current is flowing through that conductor and the current direction is in upward direction. So with the help of whenever the current is induced in the wire, the magnetic field is generated. So you can see over here with the help of right hand thumb rule, the direction of magnetic field can be given. The thumb, it is pointing the direction of current and the curl finger denotes the direction of magnetic field. So if the thumb is pointing in the upward direction, the curl finger will give us the direction of magnetic field. So once the magnetic field is generated, for every cause there is opposition. For opposing this magnetic field, the electric field will be generated. Again, to oppose this electric field, the magnetic field will be generated, and this process it continues. So we can say that once the electric and magnetic field is generated, the further electric and magnetic field they go on continuing, and the signal, this electromagnetic wave, it propagates into the free space. Now we know the electromagnetic waves, they are transverse in nature. That is, the electric field and the magnetic field, they both are out of phase. That is, they are perpendicular to each other. You can see over here in the figure, the electric field and the magnetic field, they both are perpendicular to each other. You can see the wave is propagating in the y direction. The electromagnetic wave, it is propagating in the y direction. So in this way, the electromagnetic wave propagates away from the source, and we can say the radiation has taken place. Basically, radiation, it is nothing but the process of transmitting the energy. Now let us see different sources of radiation. Let us consider the source of radiation to be a single wire as shown in the figure. Let us assume the electric volume charge density represented by QV, which is in coulombs per meter cube, and it is distributed uniformly in a circular wire of cross-sectional area A and the volume V. The total charge Q within this volume is moving in the Z direction with uniform velocity Vz. So the current density Jz expressed in amperes per meter square over the cross-sectional area of wire can be given as Jz equal to Qv into Vz. Okay. Now, if the wire is made of ideal conductor, the current density that resides on the surface of wire, which is expressed in ampere per meter, is given as Js equal to Qs into Vz. Now, if the wire is very thin, then the current in the wire can be represented by Iz into QL into Vz. Here QL is the charge per unit length, which is expressed in, the current is expressed in amperes. Now, if the current is time varying, then the derivative of current can be written as L diz by dt equal to L q1 dvz by dt. So here dvz by dt can be termed as acceleration, is it right? Which is expressed in meter per second square. So L diz by dt is equal to L QL into AZ. So from here what we can make the conclusion is, to create radiation through a wire we must have a time varying current and the acceleration of charge. A uniform flow of charge, it will not result in radiation. There must be some disturbance in the velocity of charge so that the acceleration of charge will take place. Okay. So to create radiation, as I said, the conclusion is we must have the time varying current or an acceleration of charge. You can see over here the different wire configurations for radiation are shown. Now, if the charge is not moving, as I said, if the charge is at the resting position, there will be no current. So if there is no current, there will be no radiation. The second thing, if the charge is moving with uniform velocity and the wire is straight, there will be no radiation. But if the wire is having some discontinuities, if the wire is bent, if it is curved, it is terminated or it is truncated, it will radiate. You can see over here why it will radiate. Now if the charge is moving with a uniform velocity, so at this curve part or at this bendings, what happens, the electrons they strike and they gain the acceleration. So likewise this wire configurations which are having a curved shape, bent, if there are any discontinuities, if they are terminated or if they are truncated, the radiation will take place. The third thing is if the charge is oscillating. As I said, if the charge is accelerating, even if the wire is straight, it will radiate. So these are the conclusions that we have made from whatever we have discussed till now. Consider the source of radiation to be two wires as shown in the figure. The voltage source is connected to the two conductor transmission line which is connected to an two-wire antenna. Applying a voltage across this two conductor transmission line, what will happen? Electric field between the conductors will be generated. This electric field has associated with it electric line of forces which are tangential to the electric field. The electric field lines of force, they have tendency to act on the free electrons associated with each conductor and force them to get displayed. This moment of charge will, what happen because of this moment of charges, the current will circulate and this current in turn will generate the magnetic field. This magnetic field intensity will have its magnetic line of forces which are tangential to the magnetic field. Now here we accept that the electric field lines, they start at positive charge and they end on the negative charge. They can also start at positive and they can end at infinity. They can start at infinity and they can end on a negative charge, or they can form closed loops neither starting or ending on any charge. The magnetic field lines, they always form closed loops encircling the current carrying conductor. The electric field lines drawn between the two conductors helps to exhibit the distribution of charge. If we assume that the voltage source is sinusoidal, in the figure you can see if the voltage source is sinusoidal, we accept the electric field lines between the conductors to also be sinusoidal with the period equal to that of the applied source. So the creation of such time varying electric field and the magnetic field line between the conductors forms the electromagnetic waves which travels along the transmission line. This electromagnetic waves, they enter into the antenna, with them the electric charges and with their associated electric charges and the corresponding currents. Now, if we remove the antenna structure, what will happen? The free space waves can be formed. How they can be formed? They can be formed by connecting the open ends of the electric lines as shown in this figure B with this dotted line, and the free space waves move outwardly with the speed of light. So now you might be having a question that how the guided waves they are detached from the antenna to create the free space wave. So this can be better understood with the help of water analogy. So if we are throwing a pebble in the calm water body, what happens? Some disturbances are created. These water waves they are created and they begin to travel. So if the disturbance is, even though the disturbance is removed, the waves they do not stop or they do not get extinguished. They continue till the course of travel. If the disturbance persists, the new waves are continuously created which lag in their travel behind the others. So this same analogy can be applied to the electromagnetic waves which are created due to the electric disturbances. If the initial electric disturbance by the source is of short duration, the created electromagnetic waves travel inside the transmission line, then into the antenna, and finally they are radiated as free waves. Even if the electric source has been ceased to exist, and if the electric disturbance is of continuous nature, the electromagnetic waves exist continuously and follow in their travel behind the others. Now we will go through different types of antennas. The first type of antenna is wire antenna. As on the slide you can see the different wire antennas are shown. This wire antennas shown in the figure, you might have seen them virtually everywhere on the automobiles, buildings, spacecraft, ships, spacecrafts, etc. The different types of wire antennas are dipole antenna, monopole antenna, loop antenna. This loop antenna, it can be a circular loop, it can be rectangle, it can be a square, or it can be a ellipse, but mostly the circular loop antenna is preferable as it is very easy to manufacture. And the last is the helix antenna. The second type of antenna is aperture antenna. Depending on the shape they are named. You can see this is the pyramidal horn antenna. As the shape is like a pyramid, it is called as pyramidal horn antenna. The conical horn antenna is shown over here. It is having a conical shape, so it is called as conical horn antenna. And this is the rectangular waveguide antenna. So this aperture antennas, they are mostly used at high frequencies and they can be covered with dielectric material in order to protect them from the hazardous condition. And they are mostly used as a standard antenna or the reference antenna for measuring the antenna pattern. We will see this in our further lectures. And this kind of antennas, they are useful for aircraft and spacecraft applications as they are very easy to mount on the skin of the spacecraft or the aircraft. Okay. Now the third type of antenna is the microstrip antenna. These microstrip antennas, they become very popular in 1970s primarily for the space-borne areas. You can see in the figure the microstrip antennas, they are shown. This is the rectangular patch antenna and it is the circular patch antenna. Usually this microstrip antennas, they have a metallic patch created on the grounded dielectric surface. These patches, they can be of rectangular shape or the circular shape, as these shapes they are easy to fabricate and they have very attractive radiation characteristics. These antennas, they can be mounted on the surface of high performance aircraft, spacecraft, satellites, missiles, and even handheld mobile telephones also. The next type of antenna is array antenna. So for the applications which require radiation patterns which may not be achieved by using the single element, so we go for the array antenna. So the arrangement is such that the radiation from the different elements add up to give a radiation maximum in a particular direction and minimum in the other, and or otherwise as desired. Array here describes us the assembly of radiators mounted on a continuous structure. The next type of antenna is a reflector antenna. Mostly for transmitting and receiving signals that travels millions of miles. This parabolic reflector antennas are used. They have diameters which are of very larger size. You can see over here in the figure the parabolic reflector antenna along with the front feed antenna is shown. The second is parabolic reflector with Cassegrain feed antenna, and the third one is corner reflector antenna. They are mainly used for aerospace industry. The last category of antenna is lens antenna. You can see in the figure the lens antenna with the index of refraction n greater than 1 and n less than 1, they are shown in the figure. These lenses are primarily used to collimate incident divergent energy to prevent it from spreading in the undesired directions. So they are also used at very higher frequency. Their dimension and weight becomes larger at lower frequencies. Hope you understood all the concepts that we have discussed in this video. The definition of antenna, radiation mechanism, and the different types of antennas. Thank you.